Hello and welcome to another episode of FPL Expectations with me, Craig. It's good to be back after letting the boys take over the previous episodes. Game week 15 has just finished and we're straight into game week 16. That's right, the turnaround has been ridiculously quick, but it is that time of the year. It is the festive period where it gets very busy for us FPL managers. As always, I'm not alone. I've got the boys with me. And today it is FPL Mariner and Joe FPL. How you doing, boys? Merry Christmas.
Same to you, Craig. Good to be back.
Say, ho, ho, no, it's Christmas.
Well, what a game week 15 we had. A lot of drama. I think the captaincy went to the same one. I think most people put the armband on Mo Salah. It failed miserably. However, it wasn't all doom and gloom, was it? It was not. We saw some green arrows, so it wasn't all that bad. But we're going to get into that straight away when we look at the teams that you boys had out. We're going to start with you, Mariner. Game week 15, how was it for you?
Well, yeah, obviously Salah blanking was a big blow. It just typical Allardyce, isn't it? You will just watch the way they set up straight away, and your heart just sunk. Oh God! And you just knew that goal was coming. You just knew it.
Yeah.
So I mean, the move I'd made was I brought Alexander Arnold in for Chilwell. Thanks a lot, Fat Frank. That really. That's really cocked my plans, and we'll come on to that a bit later. But no, I mean, that first of all has swallowed a big chunk of my budget, but secondly has now left me in a bit of a conundrum going forward. It looked a great move, though. Double Liverpool against West Brom, and Salah. I know I was blind drunk when I spoke to you last night, Craig, but I genuinely thought I could have been in the top 5 to 10K last night if they'd have come off.
Well, I think what we were looking at, what we spoke about was both of those defenders returning, and I mean, there were some cracking balls into the box from Robertson. Trent had a couple of free kick opportunities in decent positions, but even then, in saying that, those clean sheets would have gone a long way as well.
Well, exactly. Just the clean sheets are done. But I mean, again, as a lot of people said, "Oh, wow, I'll just watch West Brom score." Well, yeah. I half expected them to, oddly enough. It was the fact that I was looking for the attacking returns, and clearly they just didn't come, and that was a bit of a blow. But I mean, look, just very quickly running through the team. Martinez, what a star! He has pretty much single-handedly carried my defence in the last few weeks. He's been amazing. His returns are just outstanding at the moment.
Yeah.
And then Dallas again. I'm not quite sure how Leeds kept a clean sheet, but they did.
What is he returned in the last 3 matches or something like that, Dallas?
Yeah, it was exactly, but mainly with attacking returns. This is the whole point. I mean, to try and get a defensive return from Leeds is, well, how many times do Jupiter and Saturn align? It doesn't happen very often, does it? So that was that. I mean, Grealish, again, I know Watkins got 3 assists, but he couldn't hit barn door from a yard.
Yeah.
And Grealish, there was one super reverse pass, which I saw, albeit on the highlights, which was just outstanding. Grealish is quality, isn't he? And on another day, he would have had some returns. Bruno's Bruno. Love him. Going nowhere. KDB, enough said. We'll come back to him. I think Joe and I.
Great shots as well, didn't he?
Yeah. I think Joe and I'll. I think you'll probably find out what's happened to him in a few minutes. And Bamford's on penalties.
Yeah.
Whoa, that's even better.
Well, I saw an article, an interview with him after the match, and I think it was the penalties was always him and Klitsch, and I think he missed last season. I think he missed one, and then Klitsch took over the penalty, and then Klitsch missed, more recently. So Bamford, took over the pen duty again.
Yeah, but then you look in the bottom and you maybe can just see what I had on the bench. 18 points. Walker Peters 8. Was it 8 points? Yeah, Walker Peters
8 points. Yeah.
And again, I don't regret the decisions I made by playing the players I played. Maybe KWP over. I could have played KWP instead of Kufal.
Yeah.
But but realistically, Souček, he's a great player. He's a great asset to have in your team. I just can't get him right. Every time I bench him, he scores. Every time I play him, he blanks.
Yeah.
But all things considered, I'm doing fine. I'm still averaging 64.5 points a week, which, quite frankly, is 4.5 more than I normally aim for. Normally aim for 60.
Yeah.
Captaincy. That's the first proper blank I've had for some time. We think we might call the KDB the other day, the other week, a sort of like blank, but it wasn't a proper blank. And the game week rank, 1.8 million, still in the top 25%. And my overall ranking's 20k. So
I was just going to touch upon that 20k. I mean, you can't, although it's dropped a little bit. I mean, you can't really argue it, can you? I mean,
it's fine. It's just fine. It's just these. It's been a funny season so far. I mean, and I think I was one of the people who jumped off Son and Kane fairly early, and I think anyone who jumped off Son and Kane fairly early actually have benefited quite a bit.
Yeah.
So all things considered, I can't really complain, mate.
Joe, over to you now, and let's have a look at your game week 15 team.
As always, really close to Mariners, except I played Kyle Walker Peters because I don't have Kufal. Yeah. So finish 55 points. Rafinha is a player that I did watch a little bit of the Leeds game. He was in really good positions. And also, he made a few really good crosses, and also had one, I think, one point blank save as well, and also a missed header, as in like he hits over the bar, I think. So, I mean, looks good. Just hopefully he's not the midfield version of Lamptey. But
he's not injured yet. He's not injured yet. That's a start.
I took Grealish out for Rafinha, so I guess I gained 1 point from that move. Overall, Green Arrow up to 62k, which is in this point of the season is a really good position to be in. Just frustrating watching Liverpool first half. I mean, I just watched the first half and I couldn't take it. I went to sleep, and then I woke up after a while to check that they only had like one shot on target, which is disappointing. And
I think it was two. I think it was two in the end.
Yeah, it was two at the end. So, I mean, somehow after watching that first half, you could see that coming. To be honest, Salah blanking and Liverpool conceding. So overall Green Arrow. So not too bad. Happy with that. Yep. So I guess that's it for
not a bad week. You can only hope for Green Arrows, so you take that. It's still well inside the top 100k. So really can't go wrong there for you, Joe. We're going to look forward to what transfer plans the both of you have now. Obviously, with a quick turnaround in games, it's the game's coming thick and fast. There's not much chance for getting press conferences from managers. Getting updates in regards to injury situations or players like, for example, Jared Bowen coming off at halftime. No real explanations or details given in there. But how much harder does it actually make? With less than 24 hours before the next bunch of games.
It just reminds you of the post-lockdown time, doesn't it? Where you just seem to have a game every day. I personally don't like it. I like to be able to digest it a little bit, because I'm a bit of a numbers man. I like to have time to look at the numbers rather than, and I don't have time to watch the games, probably, especially given the time of day. So you tend to catch snippets and then little bits of highlights and little bits of stats, and then we probably end up speaking more on WhatsApp, don't we?
Yeah.
More going on WhatsApp about things. But no, I don't think it helps much. And I have to say, I think this year particularly, I'll be very pleased when we go back to just having fixtures once, get into January and hopefully start to go back to, these weekly fixtures. Because to me, it is hard work. And, we've got to make pretty snap decisions because the markets are still very volatile. The prices are super volatile. For example, we had mass panic this morning with Calvert-Lewin possibly falling. It turned out he didn't. But I moved Chilwell out because I thought he was going to drop, and then he didn't. And then that was what happened. Then the news broke the same day that he was probably fit.
Yeah.
So it's just so complicated to get.
And that's that. Building up towards obviously game week 18 and 19. I mean, that's a transfer wasted. Surely,
it's ruined me. It's ruined me. It's absolute. There's no.
And that one transfer, sorry, Mariner. Like I know what you've. I mean, you've obviously made that transfer and everything, but how has that changed what you were planning to do what
the original idea? You see, it's an extra move. So I used one of my free transfers last week. I was going to carry 2 over to this week, which would mean I could have made a double move this week, 1 move next week, and 1 move the week after. So then I would have got into the double game week with sort of, I think, because I haven't got, the problem I've got is I don't have a playing goalkeeper, the second goalkeeper, and I have Davis on the bench who, might get a minute, but if we're lucky. So that's so they've got to come out if I want to do that. And I'm not taking a hit to bring a goalkeeper in because it's hits in, hits out. So if you're hitting in 8, how much are you then hitting back out again? So before you know it, your bench boost is just destroyed. So it's basically clobbered my bench boost to the extent I'm probably triple captaining now.
Wow, a quick change of plans there by Mariner. We're going to go into a little bit more depth in terms of transfers for game week 16 and building towards 18 and 19. Mariner, I'm going to get your team straight up there since we're talking to you right now about it. Talk us through your transfer plans for game week 16.
Well, just 1 move. It's already been made. Son has come in for KDB. I mean, look, I tweeted this morning, I can't help but think that Spurs are a trap at the moment, but I can't ignore ownership in the fixtures. But I have stopped short of the original move, which was going to Kane, because I thought that was another extra transfer we would have to make because he's not got a double game week. So I've gone the Son route in the end, and Son will probably be around for 2 or probably till game week 19. Then he will probably come out for Rashford for the double game week, and Calvert-Lewin will come out next week for Vardy. And it looks like with a heavy heart and an owner from game week 1, Calvert-Lewin is coming out. So,
has what Brendan Rodgers said in his post-match after the last game against United had any effect towards that?
It stopped me making the move this week.
Okay. So, if Vardy starts this coming game week in game week 16, that surely puts a spanner in the works, doesn't it?
Well, I can always push that transfer back. I don't have to make that transfer till 19. I still plan on keeping him beyond that because Vardy's got some decent fixtures between sort of like 21 and 24. And then, as I said, because my plan is now probably to bench boost in 26. Now I'm buggered up with this other plan. I look like my wild card to be played on 24 or 25. So I've only got a few weeks to get through, so I can make the odd free transfer here or there. But I'm probably going to, I dare say I might captain Vardy a couple of times during that period. And I've still got Bruno with a good fixture during that time as well. So I think I'm fairly well set. And I think it's sometimes you can get so engrossed in trying to get a bench boost team out, and then you realise that actually you've made no net gain. when you've done it, by the time you've taken all the points. So that's why that's the route I'm going. So yeah, KDB, bye-bye. Will he come back in? Man City he has to really start producing, because at the moment he is not worth that money for me.
Would the same apply to Son though after his blank last night?
I just think that with the fixtures, I'm more interested in the Leeds fixture actually than the Fulham fixture. I think the Fulham fixture might suit Kane, but I think the Leeds fixture will suit Son. So for that reason, because I think Leeds will attack a bit more. Leeds will really, I'd imagine Leeds will go for it as usual. They are my favourite team to watch by a distance. I love it. Yeah. So no, but no, he's 60% owned, Craig.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying I'm going to captain him, because I'm probably not actually. But that said, I think he is still. He's a super asset, and you don't become a bad player overnight. There may be a reaction. There may be a reaction to it. So whilst everyone said they did what Mourinho said, I'm not quite sure, listening to that post-press conference, whether he was actually very happy. So there could be a reaction.
Well, he definitely wasn't. He wasn't happy with them sitting back in.
No, he wasn't. No. So I think there might be a bit of a reaction. That's my hope.
Okay, so KDB out, Son in for you. Mariner, Joe, over to you. What have you done ahead of game week 16, or what are you working towards? You still have time. Transfer deadline is not yet, but any moves that you've made already planning to do?
Same moves. KDB out, Son in. I think it's mainly to attack the fixtures, as what Mariner says, and KDB. I mean, probably if we look at how City plays at the moment, they are quite, I would say, focused on defense. KDB, he had a great chance, but he just takes a bit too long to pull the trigger on the day before. Just like half a second or even a second later, the goalkeeper could have made himself so much bigger and close him down. So he hasn't had an open goal so far this season. But I'm just hopeful that after probably game week 19, they are having an excellent stretch of fixtures, 20 onwards, I think, to 22. So maybe we can revisit him after that, hopefully, and hopefully by then Aguero is back and probably can start a game or two. So I mean, it's goodbye for now, but I'm looking to bring him back in on probably between 20 to 22. DCL to Vardy is still a question mark, because it will be for a hit, which I'm not sure is a risk to take. With games coming in so quick. So since both of them are at a risk of being benched or rested, I'll probably just save that hit. 2 days rest in between might not be worth the hit. And but I'm still playing him over KWP this week, because personally I prefer to play attackers more than defenders.
Yeah.
So but we'll see how it goes from there.
Interesting. Go on. Keep going.
Yeah, like the first point I was making, instead of bench boosting on 19, I'm working my way to triple captaining on gaming 19. So
so that was just something I was going to touch on right now. Both of you, speaking to both of you off air, obviously, you both told me that you're working towards doing exactly what Joe has up on the screen there, working towards a free hit in 18 and triple captain in 19. We discussed this in terms of who you're going to give the armband to, and we discussed the possibility of Salah, discussed the possibility of Bruno Fernandes. But what has made you go away from the bench boost, which, if we look to everyone on Twitter and most of the big managers, which is what they're leaning towards, why have you two decided to go down a different avenue and go with the triple captain? Marin, I'll start with you.
Because of fat Frank Lampard.
Just plain and simple, Ben Chilwell and Frank Lampard.
That popped me up completely. I'm not taking the hits. I just don't. I've decided this year I am not going to. I've in previous seasons, I've taken 40 points in hits and things like that. I don't want to take that many hits. I want to try and manage this without the hits the way I've done in the past. And with all honesty, I'm not taking a hit to bring a goalkeeper in. I don't think who might not get any points anyway.
Yep.
What's the point? Now with a wild card, if you play your wild card, you're not taking a hit to bring a playing goalkeeper in. It's a big, you can play a wild card, and with luck, you can get 15 double game weekers.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's what people are doing, and no wonder anyone's holding their wild card now. Is exactly what they should be trying to do. They should be trying to get 15 double game weekers out there. Now, of course, we've used our wild card, and I've benefited greatly from it. So, since game week 5, and the rise, all my rise came after game week 5 when I played my wild card. So yeah, it's just one of those things. I think I'm not too worried about it because I said the traditional way to play your bench boost is to wild card then bench boost.
Yep.
Not trying to build yourself to a bench boost.
Yep.
So, and my fear is, given the shocking headline, and I mean seriously shocking headlines that you see on the news every day in the UK, there's more and more COVID cases coming. I mean, quite frankly, you could pick your team and get right there, and then have to take another couple of hits to try and get yourself to a bench boost, which then throws you. So then you've wasted these transfers getting there. So I'm thinking it's probably just. The safest hedge is just to make a couple of moves. Yes, I'm losing DCL. It means I can hold Grealish, and I think I might want to hold Grealish, even though his fixtures are a bit poor. They do improve after game week 20. So that's my plan. So a lot of it's to do with the fact I don't want to take too many hits, Craig. To be honest, I think.
Okay, Joe, same boat, or do you have a different perspective on this?
Similar because. Firstly, like what we've discussed off air just now, with the wild cards, you can move a few players simultaneously. So you are not bound by the limits of free transfer game week per game week. So in a sense, like what Mariner says, wild card goes well with bench boost. And even if you say you might take a free transfer for a second goalkeeper, it is still an opportunity cost because you could be doing that. You could be using the free transfer on another player other than the second goalkeeper. So for me personally, what I've learned from last season is you only move your keepers, or I would only try to move my keepers during the wildcard. So which I've done in my first wildcard. I've moved Ryan. Yeah, thank God I did that. I moved Ryan out for Martinez. On my first wildcard. So yeah, and I never looked back since. Even though he had a blank game week due to the postponement, I still kept him because I personally feel even if you're talking about free transfer and a goalkeeper, it's not as beneficial as a free transfer on another player, unless your goalkeeper is Ryan or Ramsdale.
I think this is the point, Joe. I think when you're looking at a 4.5 keeper like I was thinking, well, it's going to be, I'm probably going to have 2 or maybe even 3 leads anyway. I'm not sure I want to double up on Leeds defence in any case, so I wouldn't go for Meslier. So then you're looking at Johnston from West Brom. Maybe that's not too bad, but even then, it just doesn't fill me full of the joys of spring. Whereas when you've got the opportunity to perhaps to to play a wild card and bring a reasonable second keeper in with a plan for downgrading him, obviously, a few weeks later.
Yep.
And by then also, we should have built more team value.
Mm-hmm.
So
Exactly.
more team value,
Yep.
we can then get a better bench boost side.
Yep. That was another good point to make as well, because like at the later part of the season, you have more cash to actually spend. Because looking back at my team, if let's say I were to keep Chilwell, I can put a reasonable bench boost team. Besides, with a blanking second keeper, but just doesn't feel right. From where I was coming from, So yeah, I would probably still. Which is why I decided to play the triple captainship on game week 19.
Yeah.
All right. So both of you playing your triple captainship in game week 19, avoiding that bench boost, which majority of the managers seem to be doing. So interesting stuff there, guys.
It is with a heavy heart.
It
is with a heavy heart, Craig. Yeah. But
it's even more amazing that it's down to one transfer that has changed your whole strategy. It's quite fascinating to see that. But we're going to look forward to the immediate, which is game week 16, which is only a few hours away, funnily enough. So if you're just catching up, if you're just joining the show, hi, Merry Christmas and everything. I've seen a few questions that have gone on. Do put your questions up on the comments section. I see them all. Ali Sufyan, I don't think we're going to have enough time to create a wildcard template during this show, but I'm sure maybe some of the guys might do some over Twitter in their free time. But for this show, I don't think we're going to have the time to be able to do that. Merry Christmas to everyone that's joined us. Do keep your questions and coming in the comment section. We will get to them in the next section. We're going to focus first on game week 16. And, it's that time where we pick the captain for game week 16. Now, it's been a tricky ride in game week 15. Majority of us went with Mo Salah playing at home to West Bromwich Albion. It seemed like a no-brainer. But Sam Allardyce and Sam Johnston had other ideas. But as always, if you follow FPL Mariner on Twitter, you know that he comes up with a weekly captaincy metric, which up till now he has not revealed for game week 16. And we're so lucky to have him on the show, because what is he going to do this week? He's going to reveal it on FPL Expectations. So, Mariner, over to you and your metric.
Okay, well, I've been farming questions all day on Twitter. Like, if you want to find out who's captaining, who's top of the metric, you have to watch the show, boys. So anyway, well, there you go. It's there, and it's Salah. Salah tops it. Fixture difficulty rating of 120.6 over Fernandes 109.3. That tells me that the moment Bruno gets a decent fixture, he will jump above Salah now.
Okay. Yeah.
That's basically what that's telling me, because he's only Salah and their form has just dipped a little bit. If you look at the form, you've got the points and the last average points, expected points, 8.09 for Fernandes. Mane 6.46 gets 7.46. Now, this is going to have the effect of weakening the appeal of these players. And that's clearly seen by Kane and Son. If you look further down on the form, you'll see Kane 4.58. So that is clear that now you would have expected, with a good fixture and with the returns that Kane has had this season, which we look at, you would expect Kane to be in the top three, and he's not, and that's because of his recent form. So basically, the two Liverpool lads look the best two options. I've seen a couple of people doubling up on them. Actually, we've gone double defence. I've seen one or two people now looking at doubling up on the attack. I think that could be a juicy little option. Certainly, because I actually, the history of the Newcastle fixture is there's goals. There's goals in that game. Hopefully not at the back, mate. But, but hopefully our TAA and Robbo double up will work for the attacking returns, which is again actually one of the reasons why I brought them in. So so looking at that, you're looking at Salah, Mane, and Bruno third. But if you look at the fixture difficulty, it's very noticeable that Bruno's fixture difficulty is harder, and therefore when Bruno's fixtures turn, he will jump. So that's my perspective of it at the moment.
Joe, how worried should us managers be, judging by what happened last night in regards to Mo Salah?
I mean, like I mentioned, I watched first half. He actually did have a few decent chances. It's just that, Robo, delivered really good crosses yesterday from the left-hand side. And when Robo crosses, most of the time, it is Salah on the other end to take it. So I would say slightly unlucky with his timing and things like that, because you could see him trying to direct the ball towards the goal. Just not his day. Not his day yesterday, but he could really well be banging in the goals again, probably tomorrow, I guess. So not surprised to see him at the top of the matrix. And looking back at some of the games that is being played for the past 4 games, you're looking at you're screaming goals from, unfortunately, both ends. I think for the past 4 games, they meet each other, 3 times Liverpool scored 3, and 1 time Liverpool scored 4, but unfortunately Liverpool only kept 1 clean sheet in the last 4 times they meet each other in the Premier League. So, but I hope for our sakes, Mariner, they keep the clean sheet this time.
What has prevented you? Both of you, because you both made the same transfer. What stopped you from going Sadio Mane instead of Son Heung-min? Was it just pure money, or was there more to it?
Well, I'd already got 2 defenders, so I couldn't move to Son, and it would leave me with 4 Liverpool players, so that wouldn't work anyway. So, but if I was looking at it in a different way, you'd have had to have dismantled well, I suppose the structure would be a bit similar by bringing in Salah with Mane compared to KDB. But my view is that Mane still, he's popping up on the metric, but he's maybe just starting to appear on people's radar. He's a bit like Firmino. He blows a bit hot and cold, and maybe he's just starting to go on one of his hot streaks. Doesn't fit my structure at all. So, but I don't think it's a bad move. I don't think it's a bad option as a captain.
I mean, the reason why I brought it up, yes, obviously he's second in your metric, but the fact that he also has a double game week coming, which means it's a sensible decision to make. It's a sensible transfer to make.
Yep.
Yeah, I think for me, I just again couldn't look over couldn't turn my back on the fixtures for Spurs, and I think I'm a strong believer in playing what's in front of you. And as I say, we can move ourselves around right, left, and centre to get to a certain point for your bench boost. But it's all down to that. For me, it's down to that TAA move. That Chilwell TAA move stops me from doing things like that, of course, which would have then prevented an extra move as well. Again, it's just like this. It's just this knock-on effect, which ultimately has forced me down the bench boost route, down the triple captain route.
Yep, agreed. I mean, like I've seen quite a number of teams, especially the wildcard teams, doubling up on Salah and Mane. With Mane, focusing mainly, they bring in because of the double game week, and then acting as a placeholder for maybe one of the City assets down, after the double game week, which I think it's quite a good strategy. If I'm on my wild card, I might do that as well. But looking at, Mane was so close yesterday as well to a haul. a brace or even a hat trick. But I think this season Salah is still the one that comes out on top. Mane, starting of the season he dropped a little bit. Now he's picking up. Maybe it would be a good strategy to hop on to Mane on his streak. But personally, for me, yeah, I mean like same as Mariner doubling up on Liverpool defense. But if I'm a wild card, I would strongly consider it, but not with my free transfers going in and out from Mane.
Okay. So obviously with game week 16 in terms of captaincy, it's keep the armband on Mo Salah. If you don't have it, if you've gone with Mane instead, he's the second best option according to the metric, and of course Bruno Fernandes facing Wolves is the third. We're going to head on to the community questions now, and this is the section where we answer all of your questions that you ask us. We've seen some come in on the side in the comment section, so we will be getting to that right now. The first one that we have is from Ali Sofian. I did ask that just now. I mean, I did mention it just now, rather. Please do live wildcard template. It's a bit hard to do it whilst we're doing this show. But maybe some of the guys, if you tweet them, they'll be kind enough to have a fiddle around and get a wildcard template team up for you.
I think we've already mentioned, though. I think what we have done, Craig, just by talking around is if Ali listens to what we've just said, that could be a very, very nice way to double up on Salah and Mane, perhaps with Robertson. You've got Rashford, Bruno as well. Very, very good. Very, very good double game week options. Leeds are good options. West Ham are good options.
Yep.
And again, what I've been doing, and what I suggest he does, if he does go to my Twitter, what he'll see, and I'm posting the matchups, the double game week matchups. I've just put them on the screen if you want to have a quick look. This is for the double game week. And what you'll see is that, so you're looking at attacking wise, Man U, Chelsea, Liverpool, West Ham, Southampton at the moment, and this is attack against defence. So shots in box against shots conceded in box. Big chances created against big chances conceded. XG, expected goals against expected goals against. And so you're looking at the attack of one side and the defence of the other. And so that's how that's it. The Man U, you see, there's the arrows of the trends from the previous weeks. So to me, Man U again look a pretty good standout opportunity. Liverpool just dropped off a little bit, probably because they've suffered from Big Sam Allardyce's 4-4-2.
Wasn't it a 6-4-0?
Or just 6-4. Yeah, 6-4 or 5-5 or 9-1 or whatever he was playing yesterday. So that's maybe one thing. And on the defensive side of things, West Ham, Chelsea, Southampton. I don't know why Burnley are there, but I need to look into that. But they are, so that's why I'm tweeting. But I do get the impression Burnley are improving. I've been playing this for a while, but I don't think you'll go there.
They were a little bit lucky with that penalty as well. Although I got massive Bamford points.
But the point I keep making is that if you're not bench boosting, you really do look at the attacking matchups are much better than the defensive matchups in the double game weeks. So I really think if it doesn't matter. I mean, but what I would probably do is invest in your attack between me and you if you're bench boosting, because I just get that funny feeling that there won't be a lot of clean sheets.
Definitely. We're going to move on to the next question, which is from Sean, who asked opinions on Struijk. I think I'm pronouncing that correct, or possibly very highly likely wrong. Struijk from Leeds. He said he uses free transfer on Kilman to Struijk. And what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, I'm not a Leeds expert here, and we could probably done with James, couldn't we? I've just had a quick look, and in the last 5 fixtures, he's only played 45 minutes. So And he's, unless there's an injury which I don't know about, the answer's no. He's probably not going to.
Yeah, I think they've got people like Liam Cooper, who's got a bit of an injury.
I think Cooper's injured. I think Cooper's injured, though.
I think he actually came in for Cooper, so I just checked.
Cooper's injured.
Yeah, I don't know how long he's out for.
So it says here unknown return date. So probably Stroik will still get his spot.
Lorente.
Lorente
is still injured.
Sorry?
Lorente,
I think he's still not fully
flagged.
Yet.
Yeah.
He's still flagged. He might actually play. But what I suggest this is what I do, and we don't know everything about every team. I would find the Leeds correspondent on Twitter, go on to Planet FPL or something like that. Look for the Leeds correspondent and tweet him. That's what I would do, because you can't get any better information sometimes than getting it from these correspondents, because they just know everything about their teams. Alternatively, we'll try and get James onto it and see if James will answer it in the comments.
Yeah. Just something to add, what Sean did was he moved Kilman out for Stroik. So if Stroik plays probably a few more games, at least it's at least he saves 0.
It's cheap. 3.9, isn't it?
Yeah. So
I think he's under 4 million. I think he is, isn't he?
3.9, I think.
3.9, yeah.
3.9. So he saved some cash there, and probably don't mind him being a bench fodder down the line. So yeah, I mean, if you don't have any other fires to put out, then
I think the point is, if you're planning on bench boosting, you've got to think: is he going to be still in the side by the time you get to that date, which is still 2 or 3 weeks away, or something like that?
Yeah, maybe.
And the danger is as well, you've got someone like Calvin Phillips who can easily slot in there as well. But saying that, Leeds did keep a clean sheet, and you expect Bielsa to stick with that defence going into the next couple of game weeks. Tariq Amar asked the same, pretty much the same question: will Stroik be a starter? I think we just kind of touched on that and answered that for you, so I think that should be sufficient enough. Jay Palmer asked a really good question: thoughts on Aguero? Now, we briefly touched on it, Joe, just now. It's a Kun Aguero who is arguably one of the greatest strikers that has graced the Premier League. It's a Kun Aguero who, over the last 12 months, we've seen is a little bit injury prone. And it's a Kun Aguero who we've seen that is a little bit hot and cold. Probably not the same player we saw, from the great Man City sides we saw a few years back. Is he worth the money right now? And is it worth gambling on Kun Aguero?
I think I watched the highlight. When he came in with his first touch, he almost scored from a KDB assist, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, I mean, if you look at his price right now, he's 10.2. That is around Vardy's price point. So I would say if you own Vardy or Kane, and there's a strong hint that Aguero might start in some of the easier matches, it could be a risk worth taking, especially after game week 20, because I think this time what Pep's trying to do is he's trying to make sure that Aguero is being eased in much better than the previous one, where he sort of rushed in and got injured again. So if Pep and the whole Man City staff team takes care of Aguero and slowly ease him back in,
wrap him up in cotton wool, as they say.
Yeah, wrap him up in cotton wool. Make sure that he is only fully fit before he gets to start regularly. I think we will be in for a treat.
Yeah, I think you need to see him get past the dreaded 59th minute before you start considering.
Especially for that kind of money.
Yeah, I've just looked. He's played 27 minutes as 2 substitute appearances in the last 2 games, and his underlying stats on when he was on the pitch, as Joe said, was actually pretty good. The thing is, at this moment, you're not going to bring him in over Vardy, are you? No chance.
No chance.
No chance. But it might not be he might be an interesting option for the blank game week if he starts to play before then.
You'd have about 3 games or 2 games under his belt.
And also, as Joe says, he's just given me an idea actually to move Vardy on to Aguero perhaps after game week 20 or something like that. If Aguero starts firing, because they again have good fixtures, and that would give you that Man City cover. So. Aguero. I love Aguero. I think he's a great asset. I'm just a bit worried he's nearly as old as me. I think that's the problem. He's probably got.
I hope he's a little bit fitter than you.
I think so.
Mustak asks us, is it wise to bin KDB for Son and get Kane for DCL? I'm just concerned that I might not own a City attacker in blank game week 18 since I'm not going to free hit. Now, okay, this is something we touched on a little bit earlier on. KDB obviously overnight has dropped in price, so he's obviously missed that drop. He's looking to bring 2 Spurs assets in Son and Kane. We've touched on how good Spurs fixtures are coming up over the next few weeks, but, and there is a but, they don't have a double game week. Wise decision or not?
Personally, I would probably bring in only 1, but especially since you are not going to free hit on game week 18, whether are you going to bring out a player that plays on game week 18 for another game week 18 player?
Just transfers for the sake of it.
Yeah,
You've got to be building. You've got to be building for the blank game week. And again, and I've put the matchups on again, Craig. If you want to have a quick look for the 18 matchups, you can go to the screen. So again, attack. So Man City, Arsenal. So Arsenal are an interesting option now. Certainly Saka to me. I think there's been a bit of a debate about Martinelli. I think that's more of a watch and wait. At this moment, but certainly Saka looks good. And goodness me, I mean, don't mention the A word, because I mean, could we be bringing Aubameyang in for our free hits? Villa and Ollie Watkins, who couldn't hit a barn door from a yard, but probably might be not a bad option. Although they are playing Spurs, aren't they? I think Newcastle, Sheffield United. Sheffield United. Wow, that shows how weak. It shows how weak the week is. If you get my,
I think that's nearly all the teams playing in the double game week.
Defense-wise, Wolves, Villa, Arsenal are there twice. So I think I do think Arsenal are probably worth having a look at now. I don't think I was castigated a little bit on Twitter by 1 or 2 people when I mentioned Arsenal last week. And I said, they popped up for a reason. They've popped up because they're creating chances and not conceding chances. So are they now getting to the point where they've turned the corner a little bit? I've got a funny feeling that they have. And that's why I think, I don't know, I'd jump in with 2 feet, but I quite like the look of Saka.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to play Palace as well. And, Palace has been terrible.
They are crap, and that's the reason why Arsenal have popped up in the metric. I'm quite sure.
Well, I did speak about this earlier today when I did another show, and Palace have been bad the last 2 matches. But before that, it wasn't all bad. It wasn't all doom and gloom. And Zaha was seen as an option. There were some assets there that people were looking at. That Liverpool result really dented their confidence. They looked shocked. I mean, especially even when Villa went down to 10 men, you thought they could possibly be a way for Palace back into this match. And they didn't quite do it. Villa stepped up a gear. Potential whipping boys over the next few weeks, you just never know. But they still have that quality. And, it's something that we still have to keep in mind.
Yeah, I mean, they've also got injuries, haven't they? They've still got. I'm just looking at Premier injuries up now.
I think Dan's still out.
Kale's still out. Probably recovering from hamstring, possibly late fitness test for the next game. But the games are coming so thick and fast; it's doubtful, isn't it? And Saka's out as well. So this does hurt these sides. And like you said, when you're in a situation where you've got no confidence either after getting an absolute spanking, didn't they?
Yeah.
You know that it's not a good time to be. I would say involved in any Palace assets if it was me.
And let's not forget,
Zaha can turn it on. He always can.
Yeah, he can. Let's not forget if Ollie Watkins could put away his chances. I mean, you know, it could have nearly been about 7 or possibly more.
Well, we know what Aston Villa did when they did put the chances away, didn't they? When their XG was 4 and they scored 3 and scored against 7 against Liverpool. So they have got the ability to create those chances, but no, my goodness, Crystal Palace are really poor.
Hadi Ryan asked, is Johnston a good pick as a cheap double game week goalkeeping option?
He would have probably been my pick because that was the only one who I could really have got to. I don't like to spend more than 4.5 or 4.6 on a second goalkeeper because the first thing you're going to do is you're just going to move them back out again. Joe and I, we had this discussion last week, didn't we, Joe? I think there was a discussion around Fabianski, if I recall.
Fabianski and Mendy.
He would probably be the best option.
Yeah, they come in about 5 million.
Right. That's the problem. That's the problem. I mean, look, I wouldn't be taking a hit to bring a playing goalkeeper in. That's what I would say because I'm not sure you'll recover that hit. Because especially when you're going to have to take him out again, which might mean you end up with another hit.
Riley Walker asked, "Do I captain Son or Salah?" We've answered that question earlier, and we've got the Mariners captain metric up. So if you do have a bit of time, do scroll back, or unless Mariners very kind enough to bring it up for you, he is. It is the festive period after all, so he's in the spirit.
I've drank me wine already. I need another one.
Joe, do you just want to talk us through this metric that Mariner created and tell us why Riley should keep the captaincy on Salah?
Yep. I think probably Mariner shared just now, number 1 is Salah, number 2, Mane over Fernandes. I think it's mainly because of their fixtures. And for the past 4 games, Liverpool playing against Newcastle in the Premier League is goals galore. So I think they scored like 3 goals against Newcastle in 3 games and one game in another game 4 goals. So Salah and Mane, they are primed to benefit from that record. Hopefully we will see them back firing again, and hopefully Newcastle don't park the bus at home. Just hopefully they don't learn a thing or two from West Brom. It was just a pain to watch, to be honest.
It was, and we don't want a repeat of that. Mariner Sanjay Nair asked, "Should we be concerned about Spurs' recent struggles in front of goal?" Now, both of you, if Sanjay has missed it, have brought in Son for this game week.
And I basically said I felt that I have this horrible feeling that it could be a bit of a trap, but the fixtures are too good to ignore, and the ownership is too high to ignore. So, from my perspective, I think that the first game is probably better fixture for Kane, and they've only had 2 penalties this season. Oddly enough, they've only had 2 penalties. In context, Leicester have 9, haven't they? So they've had 2 penalties. So Kane maybe due a penalty at some stage. But I think the Leeds fixture, screams Son to me, because Leeds will just, as usual, just go right.
Although we saw a different side to Leeds over the weekend,
they'll still go for it. I just don't think they play with any fear. Although anyone who can crouch down for 90 minutes as a manager, you've got to be right with him. I mean, my kneecaps would go sideways if I was crouched like that for 90 minutes, I tell you. Seriously, with all seriousness, I think that that could be a That could be an interesting game because I've got a feeling both sides are going to go for it. I don't think I expect goals in that game, and that's the game. If I was going to captain Son, it would be that one.
Okay, Sanjay, there is your question. Joe, you seem like you don't agree there with Mariner. Do you want to add to that?
No. It's not that I don't agree. It's I find it very interesting because currently my captaincy is on Son, but yeah, I'm not too overly confident on that. So I have
currently it's on Son.
Yeah, currently on Son, but I have 2.5 hours to change that.
You only need a minute, mate.
Oliver!
This definitely calls for the cat. Definitely calls for the cat.
Yeah, I probably need Oliver.
Oh dear. No, it's one of those. I don't think. But if you look at the metric, though, again, we've had the metric 2 or 3 times on the screen tonight. But Kane and Son, they're not a million miles behind, but you would have expected them to be top.
Yeah,
and it just shows that they have come off the boil quite a bit. That that's very clear for all to see, isn't it? That they are not they are not doing what they were doing earlier. So yeah, I think there is cause for concern. Is there a possibility for reaction? Yes, definitely. Bear in mind, Mourinho wasn't very happy. So I hope that there is a reaction because I've brought Son in. Could I have gone Kane? Yes, but because I've got Davis as a non-playing, I'd have to take that out and double move again. So it's better to just move Son.
Okay, guys, thank you for all your insights. We're just under an hour, 56 minutes of pure FPL chat. To all that are watching, thank you so much for watching. We really do appreciate it. Game week 16, you've got just about 2.5 hours to make your transfers, to make your captain choices. We hope we've made your life a lot easier with the quick turnaround in games. It's not been easy. A big credit and shout out have to go to the 2 experts that I have with me, FPL Mariner. Thank you so much for your metric reveal, as well as all the stats and matchups that you've given everyone that's been watching.
No worries, mate.
And Joe, as always, thank you so much for your insights and your tips to the FPL community. I think you've got a bit of a following that have come on here to watch you. So I hope your comments have helped them make their crucial decisions as they build towards game week 16, and not forgetting blank game week 18, and obviously the double game week in 19. Guys, thank you all. Really appreciate your time. Thank you for watching. Do keep supporting us at FPL Expectations. Do follow the boys and myself on Twitter. For Mariner, it's at FPL Mariner. For Joe, it's at Joe FPL. And for me, it's at Craig Moraes 11. If you're not already, please do subscribe to the FPL YouTube channel. Click the link down below, hit subscribe, and hit the bell to get notified every time we do a video. Thanks so much. I hope you had a good Christmas. I hope you'll have an even better New Year. And all the best for game week 16.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year. Have a good one.